to my channel, Driven to Insanity. In this video, which is part one of a series, is what would it take to make Swift a safer company? We all know that Swift is the biggest laughingstock of the trucking industry. Swift is such a laughingstock that they are known worldwide as the biggest joke in the transportation industry. So what would it take to make Swift a safer company? Well, we all know that Swift is obsessed with micromanagement. And so what would it take to make Swift a safer company? Well, the answer would be simple. That would be to give the executives and owners of Swift a taste of their own medicine. Do things like make them put on their vehicles their wonderful no idle thing that turns their car off after 1 minute. So when they're cold out and they're trying to, warm their engine up, it turns off after 1 minute to annoy the bejeebies out of them, so that they can see what their drivers are going through, and when their kids are in their car and they're cold, sorry, but your vehicle has no idle. This is what the drivers deal with. Another thing is their wonderful collision mitigation system that is set to turn their wonderful drive cam on when somebody's within 3 seconds of you, and we all know that no one gives you 3 seconds. That is reality, especially when you're in traffic and such. And so when they got people pulling in front of them and they're less than 3 seconds, which anybody's going to be, they get a nice little call that says, "You got a drive cam." Because the real motto at Swift is, "You got a drive cam. You got a drive cam. You don't know what you're doing. You need to know how to drive. You need to pay attention. You got a drive cam. You need to keep your eyes open. You need to pay attention. You don't know what you're doing. You got a drive cam. You got a drive cam." That is the real motto at Swift is, "You got a drive cam." Because Swift loves that drive cam. They have people monitor it to make sure that their drivers do not go without their wonderful micromanagement. And so that these executives and pencil necks that push these pencils in the office and make decisions even though they have no real clue what goes on the road, or they don't care. They see drivers as not human, but as truck numbers and soulless vampires. So they can find out what it's like to have "you got a drive cam" to be completely degraded and humiliated. Another thing that they should have on their vehicles to help improve the safety of Swift is have that wonderful lane indicator departure thing that makes all sorts of noise, interrupts the radio. So when they go over a line or whatever, they get a nice thing creating an obnoxious racket so that they cannot pay attention, instead have to deal with that obnoxious racket and all the other stupidity that they got to deal with and be annoyed, and their kids can complain that "Mommy and Daddy, why is that weird noise it's making? It is annoying sound." Well, sons and girls and whatever's modern America, this is what the driver's daddy ruins their life has to deal with. So this is what you're going to have to deal with. I can guarantee you that crap would be coming out of their cars real quick, because they would realize just how unsafe it is. But since when has Swift ever cared about safety, when all they care about is micromanaging and ripping off their drivers? Bunch of soulless, blood-sucking vampires. So by them installing all their devices that they put their drivers through hell with, they would get a taste of it and say, "Hey, this isn't such a great idea. I don't like this." Of course, that would require a soul that has something called empathy, and we all know that no trucking company executive, especially Troy Paul Transportation, and that fat lying megalard named Krista Cartwright, she definitely don't have any freaking empathy or even any conscious fat pig freaking thing there that lies to her drivers constantly, because she's been with Troy Paul screwing the drivers off and over for the last 14, 16 years or whatever, sitting behind a phone eating potato chips. That's why she's in the shape of a Chinese spy balloon. about the same size, too. And so that's what would help improve the safety at Swift, is that these people get a taste of their own medicine and see how unsafe it is. After all, at Swift, you got a drive cam because that's what they care about. Safety? No. You got a drive cam. Welcome to Swift. You got a drive cam. So this is part one of what would it take to make Swift a safer company, and that is to have the executives and owners and all them other pencil dicks up there in their office in Phoenix, Arizona, get a taste of their own medicine and see just how idiotic and stupid their ideas and policies is. Also that they cannot make even a simple U-turn. And that would be another thing. Swift drivers get in places they're not supposed to be because they can't get out of it, because they know if they make a U-turn they will get fired. And a simple U-turn safely made, which most companies don't have a problem with, well, Swift don't see it that way because you got a drive cam. So everyone, be safe, drive safe, and Swift executives, quit being a bunch of blood-sucking vampires. Your drivers are human beings. They have families. They have people that love them. They have something you don't, and that is called a soul. Have a nice day, y'all.